This is one of my dogs. This is Chispita. And she's a Chihuahua, so she's Mexican.
Maybe
Hey
my
there,
girlfriend knows
buddy.
him.
Oh my
We're not going to show this to your girlfriend, okay? You're very cute, the three of you, actually.
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Handsome
Very
guys.
nice of you to say.
You're a very
Um,
attractive
I-
lady as well, Lourdes.
I'm going to tell you that I am not afraid. And then I start because I am afraid because I don't know what to expect. But I know that I'm going to survive this. And I want to share it with you because I want all of you to learn through my experience.
422 International Podcast. Let's go. We got Sharif in Canada, Saeed in London, me in LA, and we got Lourdes Del Rio in Miami, Florida. Yes. How's it going? Good day, Lourdes.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. This is super different. I love it. I love it that everybody's in a different place because that's the way the world should be. We all should just get along and do things together.
Yes. Love
Yes,
to hear
definitely.
that. Lourdes is a Univision anchor and she works in journalism. And I'm hoping if you could introduce yourself, Lourdes, and tell us a bit about, your life.
Well, I'm Puerto Rican. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, a little island in the Caribbean. I moved to Miami in 1991. I did my master here, and then I stayed. And I worked first for Telemundo, which is a Spanish network, and then for Univision. I've been in Univision for 22 years now. And I love my job. Now I'm battling cancer. And I call myself a survivor already because since the very beginning, I know that I'm going to beat this. And I'm really very grateful that you invite me to this podcast.
Yes, thank you for your time. I love the term you used, survivor. You know, a lot of times people use victim, that term. I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of these circumstances, but you're like, no, I'm a survivor of this circumstance. Um, could you, could you tell us a little bit more about like how did you get this Positivo mindset? Like, what are some of the moments in your life that led to you thinking of the world in such a positive way?
Well, I've been doing hard news my whole life. So that means that I've been giving bad news to everybody. I'm
Right.
just reporting what happened, but unfortunately, you know that we have a lot of not that nice things that we need to report. And at some point in my career, I thought I should give back to society to because I'm a positive person. I would like people to know that part. Also to give people tools. That's mainly the reason I created Positivo, which means a positive mindset, as you said. And then what I'm doing, I talk in present, even though now I'm not recording because of my health situation. What I do is that I invite people, pretty much famous people that I have access to, and we talk instead of talking about gossip or whatever. We just talk about their lives and how they think some tools have helped them to be successful and to have a good life. And I also bring motivators also too. And it's a very nice, relaxed, like we're having now, like a relaxed conversation. Like you guys, I don't have a structure. We just start talking, and it's beautiful, the things that happen.
Mhm.
And I'm very grateful, and I'm planning to go on my 4. Yes, it will be my 4. But I don't have a date yet, but I'm definitely going back to doing Positivo. This is a personal project, has nothing to do with Univision. I just asked permission and my bosses were nice enough to say yes. So it's a one girl band. I do everything pretty much. And I enjoyed it really, really a lot. This podcasting thing is great. You guys know that.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. It's such a lovely way to meet people and to explore new ideas. And exactly like
If
you're
I
talking
may,
about.
I think
So
I think if
Sharif.
I may, like your work is really important because I feel like too much of news these days is just following, like paparazzi following
Mhm.
celebrities. Like too much of the news and the media is just involved in like following their lives and the meaningless things they do. I never really
Crazy.
cared about the Kardashians, like
Yeah.
I think the news you're
Yes, I have
covering
the
is much
same
more important.
opinion. I
Right.
haven't done, pretty much my whole life I've been doing hard news, so I don't do entertainment, which is what you're talking about now. But yes, I agree. I mean, at some point, it's like, please leave those people alone. I mean, let them
Exactly.
be. But yes, I'm trying to do
What
a
were
different thing with Positivo, definitely.
what are your like? So when you were doing and when you're doing journalism, what are like the most common? What are the most topics that you'd like to to report on?
Well, I think that has changed with time because when you're very young, you want to do like really hard news and go to places that are dangerous and put yourself out there. It's not that I don't enjoy that anymore, but now I really really enjoy doing human stories like fissures, things that are more difficult because believe it or not, when you do hard news, you just reporting what is happening. So everything is there, you just put it together and share it with people. But when you are doing a human interest story, you're creating, you're really writing to the video, and I love it. That's my.
It feels more
definitely-
relatable, right? It feels more relatable when you really show the reality of a person's life, the
Yes.
details, the struggles, the growth, and the development they.
Yes, and also
take
when
from
you just show that, I love those stories that when you see a guy doing something like for their community or, helping people and not being concentrating on race or religion. It's like they're all over the place helping people, period. So
You should
that
have
I
covered-
love.
You should have covered Saeed like 6 years ago. He was doing the Red Cross. He was president of the Red Cross in Lebanon at his university.
You're kidding me or it's true?
No,
Come
it is
on.
true. It is true.
It's
He's
true,
just
it
he's
is
just
true.
shy. That's why he's laughing.
It,
Humble guy.
it was for a branch, not of like the whole Red Cross, like one of the branches for the youth department.
Oh, that's super cool. Are you
Uh,
Lebanese?
Yes, we're all Lebanese or originally. The
Oh,
three of us are
my
Lebanese.
neighbors. Well, the guy died, and I still, I miss him so much, Samir. His spouse still here. She's wonderful, but he was such a special guy because he was they both Lebanese, but he was raised in Venezuela, so he speaks Spanish perfectly, and he was such a good neighbor, and he loves plants and very very nice people. I mean, they were that guy. I really miss him because I sometimes I feel like he's still there. Like I can't believe he's gone because he got
Yeah.
cancer, but unfortunately, because in my case, thanks God, it was I took it. It was stage 1 going into 2, breast cancer, but in his case was apparently they got it really late, so he was like in months he was gone. And you
Oh,
see,
wow.
he was a big guy, and then I remember seeing him deteriorating, and it was very sad because he was a wonderful human being. He was a very, very good person. So I
But
didn't know
if-
that. Oh, I like that then. I didn't know that you were Lebanese.
Yeah, that's I think it's part of the charm as well. Our charm comes from being Lebanese, like because our ancestors were
I
all
like your
merchants.
food very much.
Yes, yes.
Let's go.
I was in Lebanon
So
like
you need to pay me for this. You just send me something like really delicious,
Send you
and I will
tabbouleh.
accept it.
Tabbouleh will arrive in the mail in a few days.
And send it with the guy that speaks Spanish. He can say, "Venga, señorita."
Provecho.
You see? He's good. He's good. Let me introduce you. This is one of my dogs. This is Chispita. And she's a Chihuahua, so she's Mexican.
Maybe my
Hey there,
girlfriend
buddy.
knows him.
We're not going to show this to your girlfriend, okay? We're not going to get you in trouble.
Is
And
it a
she's a
he or
girl.
she?
She's not a boy. She's a girl.
Oh, okay. It's very cute. She's very quiet. Chihuahuas are usually very
Well,
aggressive.
she's quiet now because she's like, what's going on? But she's not that quiet. She's
Oh, okay,
camera
I know.
shy.
Yeah,
Maybe
Chihuahuas
just
never
camera
like me.
shy.
and the other one I have is also a Chihuahua, but he's long hair Chihuahua. I didn't even know that those exist.
Long
What's
hair Chihuahua. I've never
Yes,
seen
long hair Chihuahua. So he's, he has a lot of hair, but he's Chihuahua. His face is very Chihuahua, then he has long hair. What are we
Yeah.
talking about here? Love this podcast.
Yeah, that's just about it. Like, getting to know you and your chihuahuas.
Oh,
Well, guys, it was great having you.
that.
Lourdes, what got you into journalism to begin with? So can you take us a bit when you were younger, and how did you even get on Univision and Telemundo to begin with?
Well, then we have to go back to Puerto Rico. I studied public communication, and the last semester when I was finishing up, I was lucky enough that they were opening a news channel in Puerto Rico, and they were doing something like Ted Turner did with CNN, that he got people with talent, but just graduating, which means that you work for whatever they pay you because you just want to work.
Yeah.
So he did that. He picked people that, he did some tests and stuff. And then he picked people, and I was one of them. And I got into a channel called Channel 24, the news channel, which doesn't exist. It wasn't, he didn't do things right in terms of money, and it went away. But it was kind of a place to show to the people what you were able to do. So before I was there for a year, because obviously I started working with them as an anchor, as a reporter. And then before it was a year, another channel, an important channel, contacted me and offered me a job. So I moved to Guapa Televisión, Guapa TV. And then I was there. Then I got married for the first time. And at some point, my then husband, I mean, he was a cameraman. He's still a cameraman. He works with NBC now. I mean, things were going down with that channel, and it wasn't enough places to work for. So somebody else that knew him from there, which was also one of the talents, she got a job in LA, and she recommended him. So he left Puerto Rico. We were newly married, but I mean, it was really a complicated situation in terms of jobs. I was doing great in this channel. He was without a job, and he was a talented person too. So he left. I stayed waiting to see, what was going on. And then at some point, at close to a year, we decided that we need to get together. Or, I mean, who is going to leave the place? And then I thought that it was me, because I said, well, maybe in the States I can get something else. For him to come back and not have a job is not an option. So we did that. But then I said, LA is too far from my family, try to get something in Miami. And then he finally got something in Miami, and I moved here. I did my master, taking the opportunity that I was here. I did my master, and then we stayed, and I started looking for a job, having experience already. And I started with Telemundo in their local channel, which here is channel 51. But then somebody from the network saw me and offered me a job. And then I moved to Telemundo Network. And then after Telemundo Network, I moved to Univision Network. And I've been there since 1999.
What was
So
the
that's
main,
basically.
what was the main criteria that like made you stand out when they would pick you to the network and to join them in Univision? What do you think about yourself made you stand out?
I think that I have how can I describe this? I think that I'm a go-getter. And also that I'm very, I mean, my voice, my pronunciation, not in English, please, in Spanish, is very good. I mean, I have a very good diction, and that usually stands, because I'm saying this because everybody has told me this through the years, and they still tell me that. I mean, in social media and stuff, like, oh my God, I love your voice. I love this. I love the way you tell stories. When people ask me what is that you like the most about your job, especially now, I always say the moment that I sit and start writing the story, because I love to write. That's another thing that I like. So being on TV, okay, is part of the game. It's not that I don't care about my looks or that I, present myself not in a proper way. I'm very good on that too, but that's not my main thing. My main thing is to go to a place and then put that. I say that every story I do is like like a son or a daughter for me. It's like something that I'm, very picky, like checking with the editor. No, put this, no, this, I don't like this shot.
You
Because
take
for
care of
me,
it
it's like
very well.
like super important. Like, and that hasn't changed since I start doing what I do.
It's very interesting. Also, there was a point you mentioned earlier when you were talking about your voice. So there's this one like voice coach that I follow on Instagram, and he's always talking about how you should talk as big as the room you're in, and there are ways to train, the way you speak, because then it affects the way you share your stories. So like I can see that happening for someone who wants to become a journalist, like they can work on their voice. Sorry, they they can train on their voice so that it helps with their skill set, when they're sharing a story or when they're sharing the news.
That is funny because in my case, I have never have a person showing me how to do it. I have
Yeah.
never taken a class. It was like a natural thing for me. I mean, I did radio too, which also helped at some point when I was in college. But again, since the very beginning, it's something about my voice that everybody stands out. I didn't even like it when I was, very young. Like, I don't know what everybody's talking about my voice. I don't like my voice. And then at some point, obviously, you mature, and then you go through life and you recognize the things that you're not good and the things that you have that are good. So at this point in my life, I know that I have a voice that people like, and they can, and the way I do my stories, the way I, I don't know, the way I do things on
It
TV.
captures people's attention.
Yes, and something that everybody tells me also, which make me very proud, because as a journalist, I feel like that should be your main concern, that people understand what you're trying to communicate as a communicator. Everybody tells me that they love my stories because they understand. I mean, sometimes it's something very complicated because I do all type of stories. I can be doing something about the economy, COVID, an earthquake, a hurricane, and no matter what it is, I always write in a way that everybody that speaks Spanish, which is also something very challenging in my case because I work for network television. And as you probably know, Hispanics are not the same. So I have to be speaking in a way that his Mexican girlfriend and everybody in Argentina or Peru or Puerto Rico understand. So being Puerto Rican, obviously I have the tendency to be Puerto Rican, but I've been doing this for so long that I don't even, it's not that I don't feel Puerto Rican, but I don't write Puerto Rican. I don't talk Puerto Rican. I talk in general because I want that everybody understand what I'm saying.
It sounds very similar to Arabic because like we have the same thing in Arabic where there's the main language where like, it doesn't have any accents or any alterations to it. And that's what most journalists use and the reporters, that's what the language they use. And in writing, it's the same.
Because they want everybody to understand.
Exactly. But when you go to a different country, like a different Arab country, when you speak to them, they have different accents and they sound different completely. Like us Arabs, like if we go to another Arab country, it will be a bit harder for us to understand them.
Yes. Well, we have, yes, that's very interesting that it's a similar situation. So I'm neutral. It's like my Spanish, every person that speaks Spanish can understand, can relate, can also, I know a lot about those cultures too, because I've been, covering them. And it's like, I love my job in that sense, that I feel like I have learned so much about the Hispanic community in general, especially that here, for example, the main thing here is that Mexicans understand you. Why? Because Mexicans are the majority. They're the ones buying more because they're like, I don't know, 60 something or 70 something% or whatever from the pie. And it's like, we even make fun of that, like, because obviously our main anchor is Mexican, and it's like, and we know that we work mostly for them. So we in general, I try to work for everybody, but I know that I cannot say something that they don't understand because it will be crazy.
You have to
So-
adjust to your audience.
Yes, well, basically, it's just the way you say things. Like, at this point, in my case, which I'm been doing this for 30 years now. So I know things that I shouldn't say, or I don't know, that is a bad word, or it's not the approach, or I don't even know how I do it, because it's not something that I can really explain to you. It's just that I'm writing, and I'm like, I know that I'm writing and everybody's understanding. Because
So would you be
Because I
able to tell
know.
us a difference between like maybe Mexican Spanish and then the Puerto Rican version of Spanish? What type of differences do you mean?
No, it's very hard to explain, because it's just a way, because again, we have that with all other countries too. It's just that expressions, the way they say things, like Mexican, you say orale, or things like that we don't use. Argentinians, that Spanish is very different, because the way they work with the verbs is different. They say vos, we say tú, it's different. And then you have to add to that the culture. Everybody
Right.
eat different things, like different things. I think that one of the problems politicians have in this country is that they think that they can attract voters, Hispanic voters, like they're one big thing, and they're not. They all different. So it's very hard. It's very complicated.
Seems like you have to like go out and learn about each individual culture for you to have a widespread understanding of all the different cultures, right?
Yes, that, and
Yeah.
also if you have a doubt, because we have a place where we have people from all different countries. If you have a doubt, like, if I say this in your country, they will understand it. Yes. No, we call it this way. Okay, good to know. And then you do your thing. It's not every
You're
day,
constantly
but
learning.
yes. I like that. I like all Hispanics, really. For me, it's like a continuous learning experience. People are super cool, and everybody has their culture, and it's very, very cool. I like it.
It's dangerous to
I
say
like
that
differences. What was that?
it's dangerous if you don't say you like all Hispanics, considering the population of Miami, Florida.
Well, here I'm by now I'm half Cuban, because I've been living
Oh,
among
okay.
Cubans since I came here. At the beginning, when I came from Puerto Rico and I started working on that Channel 51 that I mentioned, that was the funniest part, because I didn't have what I'm telling you now that I have. I didn't have back then. So I said something like, for example, they don't use, among Cubans here, they don't use the word compañero, which is like, how you translate that?
Colleague.
Or companion?
Yes, like, like you say, but yes, when I'm trying to think
Vato.
of a word in English, that when you're like, your coworker or whatever, somebody that
Colleague,
you're
yeah.
working with, that you say compañero this, compañero that. We use it in Puerto Rico. We use it pretty much in every Spanish country. But for them, that is like comrades, because it's the real Russian thing. That's like very communism.
Oh,
And then you say that,
Wow.
and they think that you're a communist. So once I was doing a live shot, and then I was showing something, and I said, and because we do this in Puerto Rico all the time, I said, and if my cameraman Mauricio can show this, I say el compañero Mauricio, like my coworker.
The
So el
communist.
compañero Mauricio can show this, such and such. And then when I came, I remember that I was doing a knife chip. When I came back, the assignment editor, she said, "Oh my God, don't say compañero again, or compañera. The phones are ringing. Who's that new communist that you got there?" I'm like, what did I say? He's my compañero. No, not here. No compañero in Miami. No compañero.
Russia will be calling.
And I still friend with the person that was the news director, or I don't know, but then he was news director or executive producer, but he's still my friend. And we always, the other day he was writing me to see how I was doing, and we were, making fun of that. Remember that day that you said compañero, that they almost killed you? I'm like, never use that word anymore. Oh my gosh. So things like that, you can get in trouble, not because it's a bad word, but it's a bad word for them, because for them, it's like the way the government talks to them. Compañero, compañero this, compañero that.
Yeah.
It has a political tone.
By the way,
And
how's the Russian reputation in Miami right now? Like with what's going on over there?
I think that not in Miami. I think in the whole US, I don't think they're having the best moment. I think that everybody, wants Ukraine to keep their way of living, and this is abusive. And I don't think, I don't think you will find a lot of people that doesn't think
Even in
that way.
Canada, actually Canada, where I am, it actually has the biggest Ukrainian population outside of Ukraine in the world.
Oh, wow.
And and Ukraine actually, everyone here wants it to keep its sovereignty and repel back the Russian invasion. So yeah, pretty much I think most places around the world actually are probably on
Yes,
the side of
everybody
Ukraine.
sees like this, force going onto this place which they don't have the resources, and they still combating. I mean, they're really, for me, they're like unbelievable, because everybody thought that in 3 weeks they were gone, and they're like regaining places, and Putin is not really happy about Ukraine right now, even
Yeah,
though
no,
he's
he tried to get the three territories, that the major cities, the Donetsk and the Lufthansa and one more region, to sign referendums so that they can get what's it called? So they can join the Russian Federation.
yes, that this he's working on it, but again, those people are really
Fighting back.
Yes, they're
They're
really.
fighting the compañeros.
Oh yes. Well, those. Well, yes. Oh, because yes.
Maybe
for
not anymore,
comrades.
but yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay.
modern ones, the modern version.
Maybe.
What's the hardest part about doing the news? Is it ever like, I can imagine if you're delivering like hard news, like war, I think we all dislike war, and so delivering that's hard. And like with the COVID, I know you covered COVID a lot. I'm sure that was hard. So what is I don't know, is that hard, or what are the hard parts of it?
I think. Well, if you ask a journalist, probably everybody in television, especially, everybody will tell you the same. Is the time, because you have to do everything, and then that has to be ready. In my case, it's national news, so it's 6:30 p.m. So it has to be ready. Doesn't matter if you have to kill yourself. That has to be ready. So the pressure of the time, because sometimes you have to do interviews in places that are far, especially if you're in LA. Oh my God, I don't know how they do it, because they have 3 hours against them, and also the distances there are unbelievably long. So time is something very, it's what kills you really every single day, that you're going against time. In terms of also, if you go to places that are dangerous, obviously, I have
Right.
covered Katrina, and that was
Wow.
awful. We didn't have any food, we didn't have any water at some point. The hotel we were staying, destroyed. We didn't have a place to stay. That was awful. And a lot of hurricanes, because at some point they called me Miss Hurricane, because I was, covering hurricanes, because from Miami, I was still the Miami correspondent, but at some point now, they can bring people from other places, but by that time, it's like me doing that. So it was
I
very
hope you were
hard.
a good swimmer.
Well, I know how to swim. I came from an island, but that's it. I'm not that a good swimmer. I just don't, I can make it happen.
I remember in Katrina, there was a lot of viral videos on YouTube of reporters having their umbrellas flying away, TVs flying into the reporter, like it's just absolute chaos.
Everybody was flying away there. Trust me. It was very hard. It was very, very hard. And by then, now we can transmit from a phone. Right? I have here, show you. I have here an application called You see, this is, I can go live right now from here because
Right.
this is an application that you just, turn your thing in and then you go live. Back then, you have to go and do that through a satellite truck. So we were like, the bosses always tells you, do not lose the CNN or ABC truck because that's the only way you can gonna get your material here. So it was crazy. Now things are a lot easier. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that they're super easy because you still, going against time and against the situation, but it is a lot easier than back then. When I start, in Puerto Rico, the cell phones were starting to be used. If not, you have to go and run and go to a public phone, which in Puerto Rico, I mean, you have 5 and 4 are not working. So it was really hard.
And what
It
about
was-
the cameras? Are they still like the massive rocket launchers on your shoulder?
No. Well, let me tell you, some of them still using that. It depends. But right now, everybody has small cameras. And I remember at the beginning when I started, it was 3/4 inches. And that was like, they was like this. Now it's just a card. When you're done, the camera person gives you the card and you go and ingest it and use it in your computer. So no, things are super different. And that's something that I also appreciate very much, that I've been able to see all the changes in television news. I mean, from big cameras and big tapes and satellite trucks to what now you can do everything with this. You can even record yourself and put that there and that's it. You don't even need a camera person if you don't really need it.
I think
So-
becoming a journalist at the time that you became a journalist around the turn of the 21st century, the turn of the millennium, was a crucial time because you saw, like you're saying, like the internet came in, mass media, then you had the cell
Even the
phones,
computers,
smartphones,
even the computers.
computers
I
came
didn't.
around
I
at that
started
time.
writing on a how do you call it?
Typewriter.
Typewriter. I didn't even. We didn't even have a computer because nobody had computers by that time. And then when I got to channel 24, one of the big things is that they had computers. But yes, he put probably so much investment on those things that's what they went bad routes. Because I mean, you cannot put that. I mean, everybody, the big channels were with typewriters, and we work with computers. Obviously, computers that you said C/CB plug, and then something like. I'm talking about really the beginning of computing. But for
You
us,
saw
was
the-
like, we're like,
You
oh
saw
my
the
God.
evolution of it. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And then now I use the phone again because this is unbelievable. We have everything in here to do whatever we need to do in my job and in probably all the jobs.
Yeah, but Bill Gates did a good job. Him and Steve Jobs. They did well.
What do you think about like advice for a young journalist right now? Because you say it's easier than ever to like make a story and spread it, but what are some things that people will miss out on, with it being so easy, or what advice would you have to someone starting off as a journalist?
Well, let me tell you, now they have another thing that I didn't have, and I respect them for that, is that they is this concept of a person that does everything. I mean, they are trained to go and shoot their own stories, edit it, and put it on the air. So you don't even have a camera person. A lot of them, I'm doing that now. So I don't know how to do that because I didn't have the necessity to do that. I will say, I mean, those are the things that you use to put the message out there. But don't forget that the most important thing is the message. Your story always have to be right. Your story have to be checked. Your language has to be correct. And then the way that goes into the air, that's another thing. But the core, from my point of view, still the information. And you have to be, fair and check on things.
And honest.
And that's not going to change, I think. It's supposed not to change.
If you
Well,
don't mind me
now-
asking, yeah, these days everyone does something for their reputation. If you
Yeah.
don't mind me asking, what's the most dangerous situation you've faced in your time as a journalist in your entire career so far?
Well, I really had very dangerous situations covering hurricanes. But also when I was in Puerto Rico, I was a very young journalist. I was covering a shooting, and I remember being with my camera person, the police, and then a guy was over there in a building, like, shooting crazy. And then I realized that the only person that didn't have a bulletproof
Is you
vest was me. Because the camera person back then, they were belong to a union, but not us. The talent didn't belong to any union. So because of the union, they have that type of protection. So I'm like, I'm the perfect target here. I mean, it's like everybody else has protection but me. But when you are 21, 22, you don't care. It's like, okay, if this is the way I should, it's not like I'm provoking this, but it's happening. So I stayed and I covered my story, and I actually get I think it was an overseas or something press club award or something. I get
Nice.
something from that thing. But yes, I've been in situations, and covering hurricanes not just because the hurricane passing, it's because sometimes you try to cross a thing, and then the water takes the car. Once we were like some people rescue us. We've been through hell and back covering hurricanes. I am so ready not to cover more hurricanes, to tell you the truth. I am so happy that during this one I wasn't working, because even though my bosses are super, like, I get to a point in my career that they respect me, and like, I'm a senior reporter. I guess it's not that if they ask me to do something, I'm not going to do it, but they
your opinion is valued a lot.
Yes, and I have very good bosses, and with this health situation, they're being great. My company's being great, supporting me, and like, oh, we're just counting the days that you come back, and very, very nice. So
That's
on this
amazing
note,
to hear.
I want to transition into a topic that you do like to do journalism on, which is, you mentioned about the like deep dives into people, into humans. So for me, I believe everyone has like their own message to project to the world. And I wanted to know from your experience, do you believe that is true? Like, do you believe that each person has their own message to share? And if yes, what is the message that you're trying to share?
I think that everybody has a story behind them, and
Okay.
that every story is worth it. And that, especially now that I'm going through this difficult moment, it's been so, I'm counting my blessings every day. Really. I have things are happening that are being very, very special. Like, let me tell you a little bit before I answer your question.
Yeah.
I got this diagnosis, and then when I was going through the process, trying to pick a place at a hospital or facility, I got another news that I got this, which you can probably still see. I got something here, and I showed it to the oncologist. I said, I have this for months and blah, 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 whatever. No, she told the nurse to get her a dermatologist, whatever. I went there, like Miss Positive, like I am. Oh, visit, blah, 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 blah. But bottom line, it was cancer too. I didn't know. Now I know the difference, that from melanoma to what I have, which is basal carcinoma, which is, not that bad. It's something that you just go there. It doesn't go in the rest of your body. You just take it out. But they said cancer, the magic word, and I was going through cancer already. So I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What's going on? Okay, that happened. After that, I was married for 11 years. My husband couldn't deal with the cancer, so he left me. So here I am with 2 cancers and no husband, in a place which I call home for 30 years, but I don't have family, blood family here. You have no idea that, well, that happened. I said, I'll leave you, go in with love, whatever. I don't need a person like that with me right now. So, and I said, well, let's do this quickly because I need to concentrate on my health, which is the most important thing right now. So in a month, I was divorced. I'm very, I do things, I'm very proactive. It was a problem, I need to solve it. So I solved it. And then it's been so amazing. Isn't been a day that I don't have everything I need, I have. All my friends, people that through social media, people are unbelievably good. And my friends, when I had the surgery, I have dear friends. I create a chat, what I call Luli's Angel. Luli is the nickname for Lourdes. So they were my angels. And I said, okay, I need something that I learned. Well, a lot of things I have learned through this journey. But the first thing is that you need to ask when you need something. And you have to accept that people help you, because I wasn't like that. It's like, no, I'm fine. No, I'll do it. No, don't worry. Now I don't see life in that way. Sometimes you need to say, okay, guys, I really need your help. Can you please? It's like when I changed that mindset, it's like when I did this, it's like, whoa, unbelievable. Everybody wants to help me. Everybody's been helping me. So it's been really, really an amazing experience. And you understand that, going back to your question, why I explained that, because another thing that I have learned is that even the person that you don't like, that has things that because you're not going to change. You know that that's not the best person, but that person that is not great has good things also. So it's like you understand that everybody has a story, that people are the way they are because the way they have lived their lives, and that when you talk to them and when you see, everybody has a good part. And those people sometimes are willing to share, especially when they see somebody in need. So that's been my interpretation of things. Like everybody, even persons that are not that nice, they're being nice to me for some stuff, and I'm super grateful, and I will be grateful forever. And I don't care. They're not perfect. I am not perfect neither. So I think that that's the way we should see at life. You should recognize the good in everybody and try to concentrate on that, because bad is all over the place anyway. So, because we're not going to say that it's not bad out there, but it's just that you don't have to concentrate on that. I don't, that's the way I decide to live my life.
I'm trying to process that answer. Holy shit. No, that was a good answer, to be honest. Like, damn. Yeah.
I gave you that background because I think it's important sometimes to understand things, to have some background. It's like, I am not the person that you were about to interview the first time that you contact me and we couldn't set up. I have hair, I have a husband, I have my health. But then sometimes something really big happened, and that's what I'm counting my blessings, because I think that's I am finding my purpose with this. Now I really want to help with the way I'm doing things in social media. You have no idea. Every single day I answer, I don't know how many messages, because I do answer the messages. People saying, oh my God, I was about to die. I didn't care. I couldn't deal with the chemios. And then I see you smiling, and I almost died the day, I'm sorry, the day they told me that I have to have chemo, because I know that I was losing my hair. And then I see you. I even have a shooting. I don't know if you have been checking on my Instagram or Facebook, but I even have a shooting. A friend of mine, which is an excellent professional photographer, when I start in Positivo, I paid him to have a shooting, to do, to have some fresh pictures with my in Positivo stuff. And he he contacted me and he said, Lourdes, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Now you have to change your pictures because you look different. So let's do another shooting, but this one will be for me. That guy, which is an amazing photographer, he came here. He spent the whole day. I also get a makeup artist and stuff. And he did such a beautiful pictures. And the way they, he do this, do that. I mean, they came out exactly the way I feel. Like, even though I'm going through this, I am not sad. I am not. Every day I'm like dealing, I mean, sometimes I feel bad physically because I'm dealing with a monster here, but telling that I'm like, oh my God, where is my husband? Oh my God, where is my health? Oh my God, my hair. Oh, I haven't been on TV for almost a year. I don't care. And if I cannot go back to TV, which is not a plan, I wouldn't care neither. I really appreciate the opportunity to be alive and to be doing things like what we're doing here, talking about topics and sharing ways of looking at life. And every single thing that get to me is a blessing. It's something to add. So I'm super happy.
Fuck yeah, no, you shouldn't care anyway. Like, who cares about other people's opinions? It's just the most important opinion is your opinion.
Oh,
right?
yes. No, I feel so, I call myself La Calvita Sexy. Do you know what calva is? You Mexican wannabe?
Say the word again. I can never be Mexican. My skin is too white to be Mexican.
You see, that is not true. Then you don't know any blonde Mexican.
I know two blonde Mexicans, and I know many in Mazatlan are white actually.
But then you don't know Mexicans because just watch the telenovelas. Everybody's white. They don't put their own people over there.
Yeah.
What is this? What's the racism? What?
And look at me, I'm Puerto Rican and I'm white. So
no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
what's
bro,
the word?
I'm Arab, and
Calditas?
I'm Arab, and some people think I'm Latino sometimes.
yes, you can pass by Latino.
See?
Let me see. Yeah, I think the three of you. You're very cute, the three of you. Actually.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Handsome guy.
Very nice of you to say.
You're a very attractive lady as well, Lourdes.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about positive mindset while we still have you, and what, like, going through this, you've never gone through this before, these challenges, and like you must have had many questions in your head. How did you go about looking for answers to these questions and about having a positive mindset about all that? Is there someone that inspires you, or is it something like spiritual for you, or is it, I don't know, what is it that's keeping you so positive and motivated during these hard times?
First of all, when they gave me the diagnosis, you get in shock. Like, oh, by the way, I was coming when I went, they called me because my mammogram wasn't right. They want to see something else. When they call you for that, you're in trouble usually. But again, I'm Miss Positive, so I'm like, oh yes, it's because the way my breasts are, but that everything is going to be okay until reality and you have cancer. So I was in shock, but after the shock, immediately I thought I'm going to survive this. Since the very beginning, I never doubted until now. I do not have a doubt that I'm going to survive this. But also then I said, well, this is not why me to God or to the universe, is for what? It has to be a reason, something that I need to learn, something that I need to do for the humanity or something like that. So I start looking for answers, and then I realized, wow, I've been doing this for 30 years. I have never had a podcast about positivity. And then this happened to me. Ooh, so you know what? I'm always telling people, if you listen to my podcast, I'm always telling, Here we are giving you tools. Oh, tell me, what did you do for this and that? I thought that I was giving people tools, but I was getting tools for me that I didn't know. Because you're, as you know, because you do podcasting, and you mentioned that, Mr. London, that that you learn a lot doing this, because you know people, you know. So I was learning, and I think that my podcast prepared me in a way for this. So that's the way I see it. When I decided to go public, because that's another thing. When you're a public figure, am I going to tell people and I'm going to talk about this? So I make the decision, and I said, I'm going to do it when I feel. I'm very organic. So I'm like, when I feel like I'm ready, when I feel like I'm going to do it, I want to do it, I'll do it. So I was walking around my neighborhood and said, at some point, I said, you know what? Today's the day. So I was I was walking around my neighborhood. So I took the phone, and I sit and I talk. I said, I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna put it on my social media. So one take. Okay. Today I'm here because I want to tell you something. I want to share something with you, blah, blah, blah. And I said it. And I even cried at some point because I was very emotional when I said, I'm not going to tell you that I am not afraid. And then I start like, because I am afraid, because I don't know what to expect. But I know that I'm going to survive this. And I want to share it with you because I want all of you to learn through my experience. And it's unbelievable what I'm doing for those women out there that, that thought that the world was getting to an end. And now they feel hope. They feel like now have people following me. I had, when this whole thing started, I have like 50 something followers on Instagram, to just mention a number. And now I have 106. It's like people from everywhere are following me. And they're like people even that they don't know me from television. It's like a new thing. Somebody, because I don't know how that thing works, but at some point they put it out there and the reels goes crazy and everybody can see them. I don't know how they do that. I'm not very good into about that. But something happened because people that, it's like, oh my God, I got to you because I don't know. Some people are sending to other people. And like, and I have a lady, for example, that was telling me today, oh my, because her husband had cancer. And she said, he doesn't have Instagram, but every single day I show him the things you post. And he's like super, and how is the journalist doing? And he's like caring and receiving the way I deal with things as an example of the ways he should do it too. And I have a lot of people like that. Today, another, that was a young woman. She said, I have an ovary cancer. I had surgery and they remove it, but then now I have to have chemo because they want to prevent something like same thing and they're doing for me. And she said, and I was devastated because I know that I'm going to lose my hair, but not anymore because I saw you. You look beautiful. You look, you don't care. And I don't have to care neither. I'm like, of course, you just have to care about your health. This is going to grow. And if it doesn't grow, doesn't grow. I don't care, really. I'm so comfortable. I don't have, how many times I have to go to La Peluqueria, the hair salon, and I don't have to go now because I don't even have to, I can wash my hair like this every day.
Save
Well,
on
not my hair,
shampoo now as well.
Yes, I'm saving a lot here. No complications.
Yeah, it's one thing for you to say things that are positive, but it's another thing for you to go through something so hard and be positive about it.
You
I
got
think
it.
that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. It's
You
so
got it.
inspiring,
You
and
say
it's
it better. That's exactly what is going on. People, you can relate to somebody that tells you good, nice, beautiful things, but you can super relate to somebody that is telling you and they're going through hell. So
Yeah. There's something interesting I noticed throughout this podcast is like when you were talking about how you were when you were young and how you are now, like your perspective has obviously changed over time, and I feel like your relationship with time has also changed, like the way you look at time, and the way you look at time gives you, you know, a different perspective on life and how you want to live it. So like, how's
Definitely.
your relationship with time? How was it? How has it changed? How's it evolved? And how is it now?
Well, you will know with time, but when you get to 50, you feel like you're in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Now it's not like, okay, your time is limited. So I'm 57. I'm closer to 60 now. So I'm like, oh my God, I am really 60, almost 60. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Because you age, but you don't you don't notice it because you're
Yeah.
with yourself. You're looking at the same person in the mirror every day. But then things get into perspective, and I feel like, especially after I go through something like this, first you feel like, what is really important? Should I really care that much for things? Because I was like that big time, and I'm a lot better after this, because I was like, I'm always like, this expression in Cubans use, that is coger lucha, like worry too much about things. And now I'm like, okay, if this can be done, cool. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. Like, like, let's say that we talked to do this, and then after 2 hours, I got really sick. Oh my God. For me, before, I was like, oh my God, no, I cannot cancel that. I gave them my word. I have to. But now I will tell you, guys, I'm so sorry. I feel awful. I cannot do it. I feel like vomiting right now. I cannot do it. Because first of all, you have to be truthful. And also because you cannot push yourself to do things that you cannot do because of being perfect, because we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to be.
Wow,
So do
that's
you believe like this?
a great one.
Yeah, I just want to say, do you believe this way of like engaging with life, we should all start with it from like an early age, or it doesn't matter, it just comes naturally?
I think that whatever comes is great, but obviously if you can, I mean, I think that you get the light at 20, you'll be a lot happier, because if you do this way, you're gonna be happier. I can assure you. If you
Mhm.
Yeah.
take some pressure that you're putting yourself, if you go with the flow, you're gonna be happier. But I wasn't like that, and I wasn't ready. So again, instead of, one thing that I have learned is that I don't criticize me that much anymore. Like, you said that you're gonna do this and you haven't, I thought that I was writing a book. So I start and then I stop. Oh my God, you see, you don't have a commitment. You said that you're gonna write a book and you're not writing the book. And I'm like, well, I'm writing the book if I want to write the book. If I don't want to write the book and I don't feel like writing today, if that's not the way I want to share my story, then maybe I do conferences. I know that I have to do something when with what I have, but not because nobody's like putting pressure on me. It's like, it's something that I would like to do, but I would like to do it if I can. If it doesn't take, if it's not gonna give me more stress, I'm trying to be cool to me and to everybody else, to have patience, which was something that I never have. I'm not a patient person, not with people, not with me. I'm working really hard on that, and I think that I got better. I'm not saying I'm miss patient now, but I'm better, definitely, because I noticed that some things are like, they don't aggravate me that much like they used to.
Wow. And speaking of time, we're kind of wrapping up on time. We're
Okay, sure.
past the hour time here right now. I really appreciate it. Sharif, do you have any last questions to ask before we wrap up here?
No, I admire the work. Honestly, you've been through a lot. It seems to be the case. Like, and you have the best possible perspective any human being can have on these struggles and on these experiences that you had in life up until today. And I think we should all try to emulate that with the gratitude that we have every other day. To be alive and to try to be the best versions of ourselves.
I think so too. And thank you really, really very much. Oh, that's Paco, you see?
It's Paco.
Okay, guest cameo appearance. Cameo appearance from
That's Paco.
The reason
I
why
tell
we're
you?
laughing is because we actually have a friend whose nickname is Paco.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was
Yes, exactly.
It's a human being name, really.
Right.
yes.
I call him Paco because I like Paco. Paquito, which is
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Usually,
Sad, go for
we,
it.
yeah, what we like to do before we end the episode is, so obviously we've been doing most of the asking questions part. So we'd like to give you the opportunity to ask us a question, or yeah, whatever you'd like.
well, I'm gonna ask the question, and whoever feels like answering, because this one relates to the three of you. Why you decide to do this podcast and in this particular way from different places?
So I think Ali can answer that one.
Yeah.
He's the one who started it. That's why.
So I started, 2.5 years ago. And we all came from Lebanon, actually. So we're all high school friends. Some of us met in middle school too. And it's amazing just to have the guys, and we've been doing it, and we've kept on doing it, and now we have the opportunity to meet all these cool people while keeping our friendship. Yeah, to me, it's really that's my main motivation behind it is, to grow with my friends while also working on myself and growing myself. And the international thing, it just happened. We all met in Lebanon, but because of the hard situation in Lebanon, we all had to travel different places. And this is us keeping our friendship together while going through an adventure, pretty much.
And okay, Nate, let's go to Mr. London now. Uh, what would you like for this podcast to happen in the future? You will do like when do you guys have plans or things that you will like to see happening with this project?
So yeah, there's always plans because like we're always sitting down together and brainstorming. We even do episodes every Sunday, like us, just the guys, and we just talk. And I think from there we see how we develop as a group because it started off with Ali and another Ali, and then slowly we all started joining in, and like we formed like this group of friends. Like all of our friends became a part of this group on the podcast. And for me, what I'd like to see is once once the podcast has like a reaches a certain point in its life where we can impact people proper in a good way, like I'd like to be have the opportunity to gather all the guys, since we're all around the world, everyone is in a separate country, and then try to make a project where we're like, start to do more projects together as all the guys together. Because me and Ali, we've talked about this a few times as well. Because I feel like you do your best work with the people that you really care about. Because like you said, how when you had to remove different people from your life, and then you had other people come into your life and they supported you and made you feel positive. The people on this podcast are an essential part of that for me. There's some of the like Ali can I'm pretty sure feels the same way because we've talked about it before. The podcast is like one of the pivotal moments in our lives.
Cool. That's very cool. And then how did you guys, well, Trey, I don't know if you can answer this because I don't know if it was you, but how did you get to me?
So
Um,
I actually
yeah,
can't answer that. You are correct because I don't do I'm not the one who searches for new guests and opportunities to interview people. That would be a question for Ali.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
or
guessing.
our side. I'm not sure totally how it happened.
so
Yeah.
I'm the one who was texting you, but I noticed someone had texted you a year ago from our group. I think it was you, Ali. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
probably.
Yes, but
Mhm.
Yeah,
something
so
happened. We tried. Something
yes.
happened about time and whatever, and we couldn't do it.
Yeah, there were some
But I remember
timing
you, so
issues.
that's what I answered and said, yes, I remember. And now, I mean, I have more time, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just like obviously the first time we talked to you, it was just not meant to be. And I
Mm,
guess now
I
is
was about to say that. I was about
yeah.
to say that. It
That's
wasn't meant
that's
to
the
be because again, you didn't have back then you didn't have the same guest you have today.
Mhm.
exactly.
I can assure
And
you.
And also us, we were different a year ago. Like we've also changed a lot. So yeah, maybe this was for the best. Like maybe this is like a better version of what we would have gotten a year ago.
The right moment. Things happen the
Exactly.
right moment. That's
Exactly.
another
And
lesson that I'm learning.
yeah, so I was looking through the messages and I saw your profile and I just like, let's try again. That's how it is. Like sometimes we, the first time you miss, second time it works.
Yes, so that's what would happen. So I'm very, very grateful. So that'll be for me. I'm not gonna, because remember, I'm a journalist. I love to ask questions. I love to
Right.
talk. So it's one question per person, because if not, we'll stay here forever.
Perfect. Yeah.
I would
Sharif,
never be able to be a journalist. If the guy was shooting above me, I'd be behind the cameraman. And for hurricanes, I don't like rain either, so I could never do that.
Okay, keep doing what you're doing then.
Yes.
Don't worry.
I actually work at a Lebanese restaurant, one of the best in Canada.
Oh, so are you the one that are gonna send me the food?
If it survives the mailing process, sure, why not?
Amazing. Sharif, will you give us an outro in Spanish?
What?
An outro to the video, but in Spanish.
My Spanish is rusty. People can understand me, but it's not perfect. Okay. Niños y niñas, gracias para mira esa podcast. Gracias por tu tiempo. Yeah.
Good.
No,
Yeah, there we go.
Nice,
I'm signing
take a
out.
bow, man. Take a
Adios.
bow.
Bye-bye, guys.